I love craft beer for the same reason that a lot of people do. It tastes good and it brings people together. It is defined by the Colorado Brewing Association as beer that is small, independent, and traditional. But in the United States, this industry is anything but small. An economic impact study done in 2016 found that Maryland's craft brewing industry had an overall economic impact of over $6 million and supported or created over 6,000 jobs. But in the state of Maryland, temperatures have already warmed about 2 degrees in the last century. Heavy precipitation is more frequent, and sea level rises about 1 inch every 7 years. Predictions show that flooding, human health, and farming will all be impacted by climate change. So my question is, how will Maryland breweries deal with the impacts of climate change? To learn more about Maryland craft beers, me and my friends went to some local breweries to talk to them about their beer, culture, and climate change. Our first stop was Flying Dog Brewery, one of the largest and most popular breweries in all of Maryland. So, how is beer made?
Malt is going to be, it's going to be water, it's going to be hops, and then it's going to be yeast.
Okay.
And yeast is going to be creating the alcohol.
I also had the opportunity to sit down with our tour guide who was able to talk to me about some of the local initiatives at the Flying Dog Brewery.
Yeah, we're super big on trying to stay as local as possible. Another big one is Dead Rise. We partner with McCormick out of Baltimore, and we're the only brewery that's using their Old Bay in our beer. And then we've got a new one, our Bloody Mary ale. We partnered with George's Mixes. They're a Maryland company, and we used their Bloody Mary mix for that beer. With Pearl Necklace, we used about 10 oysters per batch that we use as kind of a way to give a nod to our involvement with the Oyster Recovery Project.
Right.
And every bottle of beer that you buy of Pearl Necklace, we're donating spat back into the Chesapeake Bay.
We also discussed climate change. What were some of the concerns that Flying Dog had, and what were some of the ways that they were approaching this?
Changing climates, most of our hops in particular are going to come out of the Pacific Northwest. That being said, we do grow some hops here in Maryland, but because of the climate, we are limited to what we can use. That's actually why we started a project with the University of Maryland.
I saw that, yeah.
We made our Field Notes beer, and
Yeah.
100% of the hops were grown at University of Maryland.
Our next stop was Smoketown Brewing Station, a Brunswick-based family brewing operation. We happened to come on the 2-year anniversary since opening, where there was a huge community event going on to celebrate. Then I sat down and talked to my friend Jake Blackman, who is part of this family brewing operation.
Like for my town and my family especially, beer has become a destination spot. So I grew up in a tiny town, Brunswick, where the brewery is, and it was always the kind of mindset where it's like, you either stuck there forever or you get out. You go to college and you leave forever. I came back because my family opened a brewery. How could you not? We had absolutely no tourism besides people just going by the CNO. But beer changed that. Being small can be challenging because it's expensive and you have to have that support. And the biggest thing with beer is it's a huge crowd market, and so your beer has to be good. Being on the CNO, the Appalachian Trail, and the river. Weather hugely predicts the amount of traffic that we get into the brewery, and then secondly, we have to start outsourcing all of our products. So it's we'd want to buy locally, but if the Maryland Virginian climate doesn't agree, we can't buy malt and hops from local. We have to outsource to Oregon and Washington.
During our experience, we not only got to learn more about beer, but also got to see the community part of what beer culture is all about.
So being small scale, compared to other bigger breweries, we get to actually talk to people. We put an emphasis on people's opinions, what they think of the beer, and just the whole human experience. Craft beer is very interesting because it's a very cooperative industry. So honestly, the future of craft beer is as simple as making good beer. If your beer is good, it doesn't impact if your neighbor's beer is good.
Right.
It's awesome because you can say, hey, go to this brewery, they have awesome beer. And then second, you just know how to run a business.
Right.
So honestly, I think in this industry, as long as you have those two things, you can do pretty well for yourself.
And while these operations are already starting to feel some of the impacts of climate change, their rich bank of human, natural, and social capital are helping them adapt and become resilient in the face of climate change, while making pretty good beer.